Hey, what is going on everyone? Welcome back. In the last video, we added functionality to all of our buttons with the exception of the equals button. Now what I'd like to do in this video is actually adding some logic to our equals button, so when the user actually places in an expression within our display, it's able to calculate the answer for that expression. So let's get started. Alright, so in order for our calculator app to actually be able to evaluate the expression that the user places within our display up here, we're going to need a third-party library that will be able to evaluate the string equation that the user places in. The reason we need a third-party library to do this is because Java can evaluate an equation when it's in a string. So what we're going to be using is something called mxparser. You can type in mathparser.org and come down to this little button and click mxparser-downloads. I'll just throw a link down in the description below so you don't have to do any of that. Then we're going to scroll down and then click this big download button right here. And what this is going to do is it's going to download a zip file with all the .jar files that we need in order to use this library. So once it finishes downloading, we're going to show it in the folder. Now you can extract this wherever you'd like. Since I'm running this on an emulator so I can show you guys how to download this, I'm just going to extract it all right here. But normally you will want to extract this into a designated folder. So we'll extract that all. And then this new file will pop up. We're going to click in here, click the bin. Then once we're in the bin folder, we're going to pick the JDK that we're using. I believe I'm using JDK 8. Then we're going to want to copy this .jar file. Then once you have your .jar file copied, make your way back over to Android Studio. Then we're going to go over to this far left panel. At the very top, right now we have Android selected. What we want to be selected is this project setting right here. And then these three new folders that come up. We're going to expand our basic calculator folder, the app folder, and then you'll see we have this libs or library folder. This is where we're going to want to paste that .jar file. So we can right click, come down and click paste, and then just click OK. We can expand our library folder, and then what I want to do is right click on this, come all the way down, and we're going to want to add this .jar file as a library. Then if you see right in the middle, we have this little window that pops up. It says create library, hit OK, and then what this is going to do is it's going to add this library within our project. This can take a little bit of time, so I'll come back when this finishes. So once everything finishes up, come back over to the far left panel and change this project back to Android. Then to make sure that the library was installed correctly, we're going to go over to our main activity.java file, scroll all the way up, and what I want to do is import the library. So the library that we need to import is org.whatever this is, .math.mxparser, and then we want to import everything in there. So we're going to finish it off with a colon. If you're able to type this line and you don't have any errors popping up, you should be good to go. Alright, so now that we added the library that will allow us to evaluate the user's expression that they place within our display, we need to actually add the logic within to our equals button. So if we come down to the equals button method, we can add this logic within there. So the first thing I want to do is grab the equation that the user placed within our display and store that within a string. So we're just going to call this user expression, and we're going to set that equal to, we have our display, we need to grab the text from that display, and then we're going to convert that text to a string. Then, if you remember at the beginning of this series, we use special characters for our division and multiplication symbols. What we need to do is replace the division with a /, and the multiplication symbol that we used with an asterisk, this guy right here. The way we can do that is by setting the user's expression equal to user expression.replace all. And what this function is going to do, it's going to go through and find all of our division symbols that we used. So the alt code for the division symbol that we used was alt0247. So it's going to look for this symbol right here, and then it's going to replace that with this /. So that'll replace all of our division symbols, and now we need to do the same exact thing, but for the multiplication symbols this time. So we'll go user expression again, .replace all, and then instead of our division symbol, we need to replace that with the multiplication symbol that we used, which was alt0215, comma, and then we need to replace that with the asterisk. So all this code right here is doing is just formatting our string so that mxparser is actually able to evaluate the user's expression. So now that we have the user's equation formatted in a way that mxparser can actually read and evaluate that expression, we can actually use mxparser to calculate the answer. So the way we can do this is by creating an expression within mxparser. You just use the expression class. We'll call it exp, and then we're going to create a new expression. And then we're just going to pass in the user's expression that they typed into our display. And then down here, we're going to create a new string. We're going to call this result. And then this result is going to be string.value of, and then whatever the result is of the user's expression. So we'll go exp.calculate, and this is all built in within the library that we just installed. And then after we calculate whatever the answer is for the user's expression, we need to update our display. The way we can do that is by typing in display.setText. And we're going to set the display text to whatever the result was from calculating the user's expression. And then don't forget, we also have to update the cursor. So display.setSelection. And then we're going to set that to the result's length. So it sets it all the way to the end of the answer. Alright, so that should be everything we need for our calculator to run and actually evaluate an expression that the user places within our display. So if we save this, come up to the top right hand corner, and click this play button, we can wait for our app to load, and we can test some basic equations to make sure that MX Parser is evaluating them correctly. So let's just try a simple 1 plus 1, and we should get 2, which we do. We get 2.0. We could try something a little bit more complicated, so if we did something like 5 minus 2 times 9, and then maybe we could just square that. Hit enter, and we get 729. We can also do things with negatives, so if we did negative 4 times 5, we should get negative 20, which we do. We can times that by negative 1, and then get a positive 20. And we can also do things with decimal points, so if we did 5.5 times that by 2, we get 11. Alright, so it looks like we finally finished up this calculator app. This series has been really long, but we're finally done. What I'd like everyone to do now is leave a comment down below on any idea that you have on how to make this app a little bit more interesting or customizable for the user. Then what I'd like to do is go through the comments, maybe pick one of your ideas and show you guys how to implement that in a new video. What I was thinking is maybe adding a little settings tab up here and allowing the user to possibly change the theme or maybe change the colors of the buttons so they can make the calculator a little bit more of their own. Well, if you guys made it this far in the series, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. I'll see you guys in the next video.